The PC gave us computing power at home, the internet connected us, and mobile let us do it pretty much anywhere. Now generative AI lets us communicate with technology in our own language using our own senses. But figuring it all out when you're living through it is a totally different story. Welcome to Leading the Shift, a new podcast from Microsoft Azure. I'm your host, Susan Ettlinger. In each episode, leaders will share what they're learning to help you navigate all this change with confidence. Please join us. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, this is Don Bluth, and you're listening to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers.
You're listening to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers. Episode 40, Robin Hood. Cheap thrills, folks. Cheap, quotable thrills. Welcome to the Animation Addicts podcast with the Rotoscopers. Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Don Bluth, and everything in between. I'm your host. My name is Chelsea Robson, along with my co-hosts, Morgan Stradling. Hello. And Mason Smith.
Hi there.
We're just a group of friends who like to get together and talk about movies, and our favorite types of movies are animated movies. And so we started this podcast to talk about animated films. We're glad that you are joining us today as we are talking about one of our very favorite movies, Robin Hood. I thought you guys were going to
pause for dramatic effect.
Wow, okay. We're off to a really great start because I don't know. I don't know if it's like your thing's cutting out or if you're pausing because you want me to respond. So I'm just gonna wait this out.
Yeah.
Then it's awkward.
Disney's Robin Hood. It should be actually.
Yeah, there are lots of Robin Hoods in existence.
There's even on Redbox. You know how they always have really crappy horror movies at Redbox. I saw one that's like Little John and Friar Tuck tried to resurrect Robin Hood.
What?
Yeah, and he comes back as a zombie, but he's like this undead Hawkeye guy.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Zombie Hood.
Zombie Hood. Is it kind of like that Warm Bodies movie weird thing?
No, Warm Bodies is...
Probably less hipster and more like B-grade horror.
Yeah, Warm Bodies isn't really horror.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. I never saw it. You said it looked weird, and then I saw a preview and was like, yeah, that does look weird.
I never really warmed up to it, pun intended.
Oh, man. So anyone who's new to our podcast, this is basically what it's like the entire time. Bad jokes.
Who says they're bad?
Okay.
You totally just got burned.
Cheesy puns. I mean, we think they're awesome, but I'm sure I could hear the groans sometimes in the audience as we're giggling away.
I can't.
So how was everybody's week? Listen or watch anything good or do anything exciting?
I have a little bit of a story that happened to me in the last couple weeks. I was in a commercial with the Alice Cooper.
Ooh, not the fake Alice Cooper from that Johnny Depp film.
No,
never mind.
He was in that movie. What? So I applied for this commercial, and what was funny is they wanted us to be able to send in a video of themselves just talking or whatever. So I was like, all right, which videos do I have of me? Let's look at the Rotoscopers YouTube. Yay! So I ended up sending in the one where I talk about the host, and then like I get the call, and they're like, yeah, we really liked your video, and you got the part. I'm like, sweet. So I was pretty excited about that. So I spent the day, the spot that I do is actually really funny. I learned how to play the flute that morning, meaning I don't play the flute at all, but they were having me try and then also make up some words to go along with the song that I'm supposed to be singing and playing the flute at the same time. It's pretty ridiculous, but it was really funny. So I'm sitting there knee to knee with Alice Cooper. It was pretty awesome.
Nice. So how's Alice doing these days?
Oh, Alice is really cool. I mean, he's 67, 68, 69, somewhere in there. But he still does his deal. Like the Alice Cooper image is still the same. Like, he still does it all. It's really funny. But he's like a totally nice guy and just totally laid back, down to earth, and will talk to you about anything, and just is not pretentious at all, and just like, hey guys.
Yeah, like, I saw the video, and even though he still has that kind of rough, like, all black Alice Cooper image, he's like everything I expected about him from watching Wayne's World, you know?
He is.
And, you know, you get, not to rag on other, like, rock megastars out there, but you've got, like Steven Tyler and, like, Ozzy Osbourne, like, Alice Cooper's just, like, the most intelligible sounding of all the rockers out there. Like, given his image, I would never expect him to speak so, like, articulately and intelligently, you know, and so thoughtfully. He's, like, a really genuine guy in person.
Yeah, no, he totally is. And he's got his own radio show as well, so I think that probably adds to the fact of why he's able to be so intelligent in speech. But no, he's like really nice and just like, what's up? And we got a couple snakes on set.
Oh,
and
it's not a rock video unless there's a 20-foot boa constrictor.
This giant 13-foot snake is just like slithering around this place. But yeah, it was totally fun. Like, it was a great experience. I was glad to have done it. So, I mean, Alice Cooper lives in Arizona, and so he's around, I guess.
From what I understand, everyone that's cool and important lives in Arizona.
Exactly,
That
right?
is a very spot-on remark.
I like the way you think. Oh, but here's the other part of my story. I wouldn't have had this opportunity had like a million bad things not happened to me right before.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my story. I have been trying to move to Nashville for the past year and a half. And
Nashville?
I know. And every month or so, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to leave this day. This is my date to leave. And then something happens and it gets like pushed back or whatever. So it's just been like this long ordeal. And I'm like getting to the point where I'm like, I'm so ready. I just need to leave. I just need to go. But then right in this order of the day that I was going to leave, really stupid things happen. Like, I get really sick. And then I end up having like a really bad cough that I dislocate a rib that I'm no longer able to talk or sing. And then that gets better. But then right after that.
Wait, from the coughing?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally dislocated my rib from coughing. It was just horrible.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I had to go to the chiropractor and everything. And then right after that, like my teeth start hurting. I'm like, oh crap. I go into the dentist and I'm like, now I have to get a root canal. Awesome. So like one thing after another, just like horrible bad things happen. I mean, obviously I'm a very blessed person and these are things that just blow over eventually and they're not really that bad. But to me, it was like, oh man. And so like had all those little things not happened, I wouldn't have been able to meet Alice Cooper. And I made a few other friends in there too. So that I think will be very good for when I actually do move out there, which will be sooner all the time. Yay.
Wow. And that, folks, is why for the next 2 weeks we're going to have a charity drive for Chelsea so that she can pay the chiropractor to fix her rib that she broke when she was coughing.
Oh, man.
We'll be on the line all 2 weeks.
If you call in the next 20 minutes,
you receive a free Mason plush.
Ooh, we're going to get lots of calls now.
With the bells in the background. Ding, 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 ding. We just had $100 donor.
Hey!
You get 10 minutes more of the
Yes, instead of a bell, it's the thunder tube for us. How could we forget?
Oh, but here's the other cool part.
There's more?
There's so much more. Oh, it gets better all the time.
Hey, this is a Chelsea segment. Normally we have nerdy couch discussion, catch and fire, and occasionally it's the Chelsea hour.
Not occasionally. I've never done this before.
I know, that's why we like it. It's a new segment.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's one time, though, so you better watch out.
Oh, right. So I better make it worth it. Cram it in right now. So on my way to Nashville, I'm going to have to stop. It's a 2-day journey to get there. So I'm going to have to stop somewhere in the middle, which happens to be somewhere in Texas.
Ears perked up.
Are you seeing what I got going here, Mason?
What are you doing in my turf? What are you doing on my side of the Mason-Dixon line?
So at some point in time, we need to meet while I make my trek across country.
Yahoo!
Austin just happens to be the live music capital of the world.
It's true. Austin is pretty awesome.
So that's close by me.
Yeah. All right. Let's do something because we have to at least like get a high five in there, not just a virtual one.
A high five. We'll be driving on I-35 opposite ways, and I'll just kind of lean over.
Lean out the window.
Chelsea!
Bye, Mason. See ya. Okay.
Wow, that is quite the odyssey.
How was your week, Mason?
It was really good. I starting a new job, and actually, this isn't exactly a job, but I'm going to start being a DJ during the week at the student radio at A&M.
Awesome.
So they kind of have like a non-mainstream type radio program that you can do. So I'm going to do Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Starting next week, and just have a little playlist and play and stuff. So it'll be fun. I guess I'll start next week. And my wife was actually a DJ at A&M before, and so they are going to let her come and visit and like help me out with the show whenever she wants. So
awesome. Cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Other than that, I saw Epic over the weekend.
And how did you like it?
It was a really good looking film. Like it was really interesting, like visually and stuff. But I don't know, just a lot of weakness in story and characters. I wrote about the villain Mandrake on the Rotoscopers.com, and yeah, I really think he's a dorky villain. But yeah, it was pretty good. Let's see. I saw the Walking with Dinosaurs preview. If anyone's seen that, they're like going to come out with that, and that looks okay, I guess. Despicable Me promos everywhere. I don't know. I'm not that excited about Despicable Me 2.
Neither am I. But I was never that into the first one.
Eventually
when we do
I thought the first one was adorable.
I loved the first one.
I think they're pushing the minions a little too much.
Yeah.
It's starting to convert into kind of this Madagascar type slapstick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay in moderation.
Everything
in
moderation.
Not Legos. But, yeah. Oh, and then I saw the preview for Turbo.
Turbo.
Turbo, it's turbo time. So, I watched the story. So, Turbo gets his powers because he gets sucked into a drag racer's engine, and the NOS gets injected into his shell, and
stranger things have happened.
Well, I don't want to give away any spoilers here, folks, but I figured out the entire film.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we can do a spoiler segment.
Well, it explains everything from spoiler. Danger, Will Robinson. It explains everything from the weird snail races that these guys are doing to the engines on the things. I've got it all figured out. The fact is that Turbo died, got sucked into the engine, and this is actually it's like a Lost style heaven for him, because his life has been so mundane and boring that he dies when he gets sucked into the race car. And this is kind of his heaven, snail heaven, where he can just kind of live this fantasy of being a super fast snail and having friends. It's really sad, folks, but it's true. He's dead the whole time.
Being dead is the answer to everything in most movies. They were dead the whole time. He's a ghost.
It was a dream the whole time. Yeah. Well, yeah, sorry, folks. I hate to make you all depressed, but Turbo's been dead the whole time. That's the point of the movie.
Well, we'll see who's right come July 19th.
And then he finds all his friends, and they all sit in this church. In the last scene, they kind of all float into this white light, just like Lost. The end. And then they never explain the island.
No, then they meet the dogs from All Dogs Go to Heaven and all the clocks.
All the clocks from all clocks.
You'll never come back.
Never come back.
And then that pink poodly dog, she's going to sing that song.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she is.
Totally. I love that movie.
That's funny. So after figuring out Turbo all by myself, that's about it. Yeah, this new radio show coming up on Thursdays, and that's it.
Cool. Well, I watched, obviously, Robin Hood, and I've been continuing my exploration, I'm doing air quotes, of My Little Ponies. So,
Still?
Yeah, I'm exploring season 2, which I don't think is as good as season 1, but I've heard season 3 is really good, so I'm sticking with it. Plus, it's kind of like my thing to get me to fall asleep. Like, I can fall asleep really easily, so it's not like I need this, but I'm using this as an excuse. But yeah, I fall asleep to an episode, basically on my phone. And what else did I watch? Oh, I watched Monsters University.
Oh, how was that?
Well,
Hey,
okay,
good
so
for you.
technically I can't speak about it, but by the time we release the episode, this will be opening day of Monsters University, and so I can say my thoughts. So I really liked it. Really, really cute. Right from the very beginning. Not baby Mike, but little Mike. Adorable. Oh my gosh. Love it. So, you kind of understand, why he dreams to go to Monsters University and whatnot, and he gets there, and it's really good, and then there's kind of the dynamic about how he and Sully meet, and there's a few other characters that we see throughout that make little cameos, but what I really liked is that it wasn't about those characters. It wasn't about like, oh, let's just see all our favorite characters from the first movie and let's just make it all about them at college. It's definitely different. It doesn't feel like I've been watching a lot of sequels recently, or because I've been doing reviews for the website. Like Mulan 2, Hunchback 2, Brother Bear 2.
They made a Hunchback 2?
Let's be honest, those aren't.
Oh yeah, they did.
Those aren't high quality sequels in the first place, and they're not really known for their story. But what I noticed with a lot of those is they basically like rehash the plot of the first movie and like really popular elements from that movie, like Mulan 2. Mushu says like some of the same jokes, like, oh, my baby all going out and saving China, and they kind of like say the same things that were funny in the first movie. But they don't do this in Monsters University. There's a few little moments, but it's completely its own movie. At first, they keep promoting these sororities and fraternities, and I'm like, why are they such a big deal? How do they play in? I really like the way that they play it.
Well,
I haven't watched
you have
any.
To be if you can't get into the school of scaring, then you have to be in a frat sorority, right? To be in the scare games.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, but the thing, I hadn't watched any of the trailers, so I didn't really know. But yeah, exactly. So, so you have to, one way to get into the scare college is to, be a part of the scare games, and you have to be part of a sorority or fraternity to be in it. And so these sororities and frats are really funny. One thing I really didn't like is, and this really isn't a spoiler, but every monster in the world is completely different. Like, no two monsters look the same.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Except all the girls in the Python Nu Kappa sorority, which initials are PNK, pink, they all look exactly the same. They're the same three-eyed monsters. And so that kind of bothered me. I'm like, why are all three of those the same? But I kind of get it, kind of like birds of a feather flock together, and certain girls in college and in real life look the same.
That's true.
And are seen as the popular ones. So I kind of can see why they did that, but it was like, are these like sextuplets? No, because they all have different names. I don't know.
It's like the Ashley Club on Recess.
Yeah, the Ashleys.
Yes.
Totally. And so as the movie was progressing, at first I was like, I don't really like this ending. I don't really like the way this is going. It seems like pretty typical. And then something would change. And then I was like, something else would happen. I'm like, I'm not really liking the way this is happening. Seems pretty like sad or boring, whatever. And then it would change. And then all that came together. And in the end, I really liked it. So they tie the two movies together. Like they create that bridge, which is really cool.
Oh, good.
So really good movie. I think I would give it about 4.5 stars. I don't know. I haven't decided. I'm still sort of pondering. So everyone should see it, definitely. It's worth it, and there are some really funny jokes and lines and things in there. So,
good deal.
See it, guys.
We will also be doing a podcast about this movie as well.
Yes.
So
our next episode is going to be...
Yeah, that's got to be our next episode.
So get ready for that, because this will be all spoilers, all talking about everything in the movie, quotes, none of this beat around the bush, try not to spoil you guys.
You will be spoiled.
So in our last episode, we did an interview with one of our writers, Blake, and this week we are doing another interview with one of our writers, Myra. So the reason we started doing this is because we have all these amazing writers on the site, and we wanted you guys to get to know them, so... here's our interview. We kind of just jump right into it. There's no official starting point where we introduce ourselves, and we just start talking because Myra's just really cool like that, and we had a really good time. And so we kind of just start talking and then slowly get into the interview. So it's really fun. So here it is.
Oodle lolly, golly, what a day. Success!
Hello!
Hello.
Do I have my video up? No. Okay. There you go.
If you don't want to, you don't actually have to.
Yeah, that's true.
This is actually one of the very first calls that we've ever done with video.
Yeah, we normally don't. Well,
I never see Mason.
Well, because with 3 people, it's like the bandwidth is crazy,
right.
and it lags. So we never see each other when we talk. But
I always wondered about that. I was like, it sounds like they may not be looking at each other. Otherwise, you'd be like, your silly face, your silly.
I will have to one day. So how are you?
I'm all right, hanging in there at home, watching my cat do weird things.
Nice. That's what cats are for.
Yeah. Yeah, they entertain us during the weird moments. How are you guys doing? How are finals and such?
Finals?
Finished.
Yours are done. Mine are done. It's like freedom. It's so nice to be able to...
Horrible freedom.
I ended on Tuesday, but yesterday I played in a golf tournament, and then I had to go to this, banquet. So, hasn't really been freedom. And now I have to do this with Chelsea. Just kidding. But I have, all these, projects around my house, and I haven't really gotten to do them yet. So I'm like, okay, after all, I'm free, but I'm not free.
Yeah.
Still have
right.
But it's fun. So.
I totally know what you mean. I took some time off from my part-time job, and I'm finally getting to all the stupid little home cleaning things and also, editing scripts that I haven't touched in months. And
what type of scripts do you edit?
My boyfriend's a filmmaker, and he's a director, and I'm the writer. So I'm adapting this. It's a theater. This is Tallulah.
Cute.
She has great timing. I'm editing. I'm adapting this play from a Spanish playwright, and I'm making it into a screenplay, and that's what I'm working on.
Awesome.
Essentially, it's just sort of about usually when you hear about the migrant story, you always hear about the person who crossed the border. This time, it's actually about the people who got left behind. So,
oh, awesome!
Yeah,
Cool.
So I guess we'll go into the formal part of our interview. So tell us about yourself.
All right, cool. I'm originally from Phoenix. I moved to Brooklyn 2 years ago. Yeah, I miss it. You guys have such good weather, and I'm just okay.
I'm trying to soak it up right now.
Soak up that vitamin D because the deprivation is terrible. But I've been here in Brooklyn for 2 years. I'm a filmmaker, artist, actor. I do a little bit of everything. I even make jewelry as a hobby, which is kind of silly. But yeah, most of the art I deal with has some sort of political undertone to it. Like I said, with the script that I'm working on. I'm also working on a bunch of other things. I'm working on a short. When I was in Arizona, I got my BA in theater, so I have a lot of friends over there, born and raised. I love animation. Started when I was a kid, obviously, like most people. Me and my dad would actually wake up super early in the morning because he's an arborist, and in Arizona, you have to get up way before sunlight to get any of that kind of work done. So I would wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and we'd watch the Ink and Paint Club on the Disney Channel when I was on at 5 o'clock in the morning, or Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network. And it just sort of came from this father-daughter moment, and then it just exploded into the first time I saw Pocahontas on the big screen, which was a huge moment for me, all the way through today.
Awesome. So you mentioned Pocahontas, and you just recently wrote an awesome article for the site about Pocahontas. So why is Pocahontas so important to you, or kind of explain what you wrote? Essentially,
my parents are originally from Mexico, but I've always considered myself indigenous in some way. And growing up, there's, obviously growing up, you see a lot of Caucasian-based characters. And for the bulk of my youth, that's what it was until Pocahontas. And then it was oh, wow, here's a Native person being portrayed. And so it was... that was the can of worms opening up for really great potential in cinema as well as in animation. But essentially, as a kid, I grew up watching other people's cartoons, and then I finally got an idea of what my story would look like on screen. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, you know, you don't get all of the different levels that you get when you're an adult. And I actually had put down Pocahontas for a while and just like sort of idealized it in my mind. And then I went back and rewatched it at different times of my youth. And I just sort of was like, oh, wow. You know, when I was 13, I was like, wow, John Smith's really in love with her, and Pocahontas is really in love with him. That's so awesome. She has a freaking hummingbird for best friend. That's great. And then, you know, when I was 18 or 17, I saw it again and I was like, wow, you know, the people, I saw the socio-political issues surrounding the entire move from Britain to the United States, well, to the colonies. And then just recently I rewatched it again, and just wrapping my brain around the entire film was very complicated. It was very hard, you know, trying to balance these ideas of like, well, you know, these are Indigenous people being portrayed by non-Indigenous people, but at the same time, they're trying to do them a service by portraying them at all, but at the same time, they don't really understand because they weren't in those shoes. So it's a very complex issue. I still haven't really made up my mind about how I feel about Pocahontas. I do think it's still a very important film in history, in Disney history, and like in ethnic cultures. But I think it was a brave first step for Disney to try and delve into a new world of ethnic interpretation, if you will. But I also got some really great feedback from commenters. One guy in particular, I don't remember his name. I think his last name was Trujillo. But he was just sort of brought up the question, you know, like, should we boycott Disney because based on this? And I really don't think we should do anything like that, and anything but that. That sort of brings negative attention to the entire thing. What we should do is sort of support education and support people who want to delve into these different areas, because what tends to happen is people with less education end up doing, you know, the minimum wage jobs, and they stay in this cycle. But if you support their education, then they'll open their eyes into other possibilities. Like, I didn't know I could be a filmmaker and make decent money until I got to a certain point. And I was like, okay, great. Now I can, you know, represent my community and make them justice and tell the stories that need to be told from our perspective. Sorry, I got really political there.
No, we love it. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a Disney fan are you?
Oh, man, it wavers. I think right now I can, with them picking up Pixar, I can say I'm a solid 8.
Nice. Without Pixar?
I'm a solid 6.
What about animation in general?
Solid, like 9.5, 11.
Nice. That's awesome. So, how did you kind of touched on this, but how did you get into writing?
It was sort of something I always delved in, like dabbled in. In elementary school, I was a little bit of a bookworm, and I didn't have too many friends, which is okay. But I would just write little things, and it was never like actual stories or anything of like real importance. They might have just been like 1 or 2 sentences here or there. But what I did end up developing was just this love for academic writing. I love writing essays. Like it's something that I found out that I do really well, and that I can articulate sometimes if I have enough time. And so I just that's how I ended up getting my scholarship to ASU, and like that's how that's what I focused on. And then I realized later on, along with that came my love for literature, along with that came my love for theater, and it just sort of made sense. And then eventually in college, one of my friends was just like, hey, so you're a really great academic writer. You want to give writing a shot? I need to make my senior thesis film. Will you write it? And I said, yes. And so I wrote live action film, again, based on like immigration issues in the South. Then I've just been writing a few things here or there. I'm still trying, to break into something, but that's why I'm here with you guys.
Well, and you made the huge step of moving, like, away from your comfort zone, I guess, into, like, where one of the hubs of the industry is, which is a huge step, I think. And, like, I applaud you and love that you did that, because only good things can happen by putting yourself out there, rather than trying to make it happen, at home or, a place where it's not as relevant, I guess.
No, for sure. And, like, I've been here for 2 years. I honestly did not think I would make it more than 8 months. So for me to be here for 2 years is kind of awesome. And, like, I've had odd jobs where I worked for, like, a PR company, and then I worked for Samsung, and, like, not necessarily doing anything with film or animation or anything. But the fact that I was here is sort of, turning the gears or just... I'm simmering and stewing in all that is art in New York City, and that's a great thing.
So how do you like Brooklyn?
Brooklyn's awesome. A lot of people give it a bad rep, and I understand why, but it's changed a lot in the last 5 years. I've heard stories about my building that I do not want to share. But just Brooklyn in general is awesome. I mean, we have the hipster hub just a few miles up north from here, and it's, there's a lot of really great culture. It's just very active with really positive energy and really positive things. But I love Brooklyn. I just love living in buildings and being surrounded by buildings that have, like, ridiculous history. Here for, like, years, like... In Arizona, you sometimes walk into a building and you can tell that it's old. And you walk in and it's like you can breathe in the moldy air and you're like, yeah, this is an old building. But, like, every 5 feet you walk and you see something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I lived in New York for a little bit, like six months or so. I was in, like, North Central Park. And so it was like Spanish Harlem. It was like, nice. But it was so much fun. I love that same thing. Like, you walk around, and even right now, the culture of, like, the neighborhood that I was in has changed a lot, and they've put in a lot of newer buildings and a lot of higher things up. And so it changes the whole feeling of it. So I can understand the, like, not wanting that, but at the same time, I'm like, I really like new things. Like, I'm kind of like one of those, like,
I like change and I hate change.
I know. It's really bad, but it's...
Like, I love this building, but I'd also love an elevator. Literally.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. So what are your next plans?
Well, I'm hoping to finish up the script pretty soon, and hopefully... Well, actually, I'm in talks with my boyfriend and a friend of ours, and we're going to write and shoot a web mini-series. Hopefully within the next year. So we'll start cranking those out, hopefully by the end of next year.
Awesome.
So we're working on a music video. We've been working on a music video for a little while for this R&B artist called Rick Star, and it's just incredibly special effects heavy. So we're still working on the special effects, but I actually did the art design on it. Like I said, I dabble in everything. So I fully constructed this, like, mad scientist lab. So that will be out hopefully in June. And then it's going to be the miniseries, and hopefully we get some money through the miniseries and we can fund the script. Yeah, in the long, long future, this is like within the next few years, but in the 5 to 10 year range, hopefully some really big work comes my way. I don't know. I'm hoping to make contacts with a really great director who happens to be in town right now. The director of Babel and Beautiful and Amores Perros. He's a really big guy. A friend of mine is, like, one of his assistants randomly, and we're hoping to touch base with him, and maybe he'll fund a documentary that I have in a back burner.
Awesome. Lots of things.
Yeah.
Too many.
Okay, so we want to do a rapid fire, catch and fire with you.
Yay!
So we're going to ask you just a bunch of quick questions.
Oh, she's excited about this one. You can say.
We need to, like, mix them up so people can't prepare. But...
I know.
Oh, I did it. I've just been waiting for this all week.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited. I was excited when we were going to do this and talk to everybody. Actually get to instead of just email. Email's cool. That's a whole other level. But be able to talk to someone and be this is what she's really like, and this is what she sounds like. It's so cool. So, and now we get to hear what your opinions are on the infamous questions. So, are you ready?
Yes.
What is the first animated movie that you remember seeing?
Pocahontas.
What is your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh boy. This one's hard.
What'd you think?
Okay. Arthur when I was in elementary school, but definitely Daria in high school.
Daria. Nice.
Oh, okay.
Well, good one.
Favorite animated movie?
Right now, Kiki's Delivery Service, hands down.
Nice.
Okay. Favorite animator or artist?
Ooh, Frida Kahlo is one of my favorite artists ever.
Cool.
All right. Classic animation or CGI?
Classic.
Favorite animation studio?
Studio Ghibli.
Ooh. Disney or Pixar?
Pixar.
Disneyland or Disney World?
I've only been to Disneyland, so Disneyland.
Okay.
Favorite land in Disneyland?
Toontown?
Toontown. Nice. You're pulling out some non-traditional answers, and I love it.
Yeah. Stitch or Tinkerbell?
Stitch.
Songs or no songs?
Oh, that's hard. Right now, no songs.
People or anthropomorphic?
Anthropomorphic.
All right.
Who would win in a fight, Snow White or Sleeping Beauty?
Oh.
Question better.
I would say Snow White, or no, Sleeping Beauty. Yeah.
Reason?
Because Snow White seems so dainty.
Snow White does have 7 sets of arms behind her, though.
No sidekicks allowed.
Okay. All right, so here's a good one. You are made to watch one of these movies. Which one are you going to choose? We're going to go with Brother Bear 2 or Cinderella 2.
Ooh.
Cinderella 2, because I didn't even bother with the first Brother Bear.
All right.
Nice. Cool. So, is there any last thoughts you want to share?
I don't know. Keep an eye out for my next opinion article. I'm thinking about, but I feel like I'm going to make everyone very, very angry. I was thinking about making an article on Disney princesses.
So where can people find you? Where do you write? What's your Twitter? What's your, where do you want people to go?
You can definitely find me on Facebook. My Twitter handle is @AmayaSunWizard, and I'm working on my website right now, so I'll let you guys know as soon as that's up.
Perfect. Well, thank you. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you guys, finally.
I know. So good to meet you, too.
Well, all right. Well, thanks.
Bye,
Talk to you
Maya.
later.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, folks, I'm a man of very specific tastes, and when it comes to funny animated films, you got your Emperor's New Groove, you've got your Lilo and Stitch, whatever, Hercules. There's one film that happened way back in the 70s that, I don't know how it happened in my family, but we just started watching it, and we thought it was the funniest thing in the whole wide world. And it's our favorite animated film to watch. And so that one is Disney's Robin Hood. This is the holy grail of funny Disney films. To me, it's just so amazing.
No, it's so true. I was thinking about as I'm watching this, oh my gosh, this movie is so quotable.
Yeah,
it's a freaking riot, man.
The dialogue on this, everything in here is so perfectly crafted in here to make it awesome. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
oh, so amazing.
Well, and the thing is, this isn't really, it's a good movie. I would put it up on one of my tops, but a lot of people don't consider this to be that great of a Disney movie. But I really do, and, you know, that quotability factor definitely is a reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. One observation I would make is that I was reading in The Illusion of Life, kind of gearing up for this episode, and the authors made the point that the film kind of sacrifices story for really awesome characters, and so basically what you get is this really awesome kind of sitcom about these amazing characters, and it's really, really good.
It's true.
I really don't care that there's no real character development or no real story, other than, Robin Hood saves the day again and again and again. I really don't care because the film has the wackiest characters in it.
That's amazing. Well, and also not just that, but the voice actors in here were spot on. Like each one of them, they're so good at their intonation. Like there's some people that when they speak, or actors when they go in, it's just them, and they don't have this range of tonal quality in their voice. But each one of these quotes, as they're doing it, it's going up and down. It's just so out out of the realm of normal that everything is so memorable.
Yeah, and it does that without being outrageous. Emperor's New Groove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, right. But anyway, yeah, this is an amazing film. About the voice actors, I like how historically accurate this film is. In the Dark Ages, half the people were proper British, and half the people were backwoods rednecks.
Hey, no big deal.
Hey, on the Sherwood Forest, y'all. Sheriff of Nottingham. He's scared of me. So many good rednecks in this film. I love it. It came from this weird era in Disney when they were recycling all their animations and really taking shortcuts with their animation. You know
everywhere.
What I mean? Mm-hmm. Well, this was one of probably the last films of the Xerox era. And that sort of started with 101 Dalmatians. And so they developed this process where instead of having to hand ink, I guess, the lines on the cells, they were able to just Xerox them. And it saved a lot of time, and it kind of gave this little sketchy look. And I really kind of like that chunk of movies from 101 Dalmatians till this.
Yeah.
And I think, this wasn't the last one. There was Rescuers that came after, and Winnie the Pooh had it, Jungle Book. But all those movies in there, I mean, they have this sketchy quality. It definitely kind of gives the vibe of cheapness. But it's endearing at the same time.
Well, it's like a good cheapness.
It's a good cheapness. Is there such a thing?
Yeah, Walmart. Just kidding.
So we kind of mentioned this in episode 3 when we did Rockadoodle, but this movie is based on sort of Disney originally in the 50s. They wanted to do a Reynard the Fox, which is sort of an old French fairy tale about this fox, and they did a lot of sketches, pre-development for this. Chanticleer comes from that story. So, I mean, that story is more similar, I guess, to what we know as Rockadoodle than this, but not really. Anyways, so a lot of these sketches and models were designed because they were going to make this movie, and they ended up not doing it, but then kind of reused the designs in Robin Hood. So the minstrel rooster, I mean, his design is nearly the same, or definitely you can see the origins came from that. So that's really cool, because as I was researching way back when, episode 3, I came across Andreas Deja and his blog, and he has amazing posts about that. So I'll link to those in the show notes so you can read a little bit more about this. But yeah, pretty cool. So a lot of the elements were used in Robin Hood, but we didn't ever see that other Fox movie that could have been, I guess.
Oh well. This also comes from that era where they open up the films with a fairy tale book, and then it kind of opens it up, and you dive into the pages. And you kind of get this wacky opening on this film.
I felt
it's really weird. Have you ever seen Beverly Hillbillies? Where they're starring.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that,
I felt like the entire time they're just trying to like let's draw this thing out as long as we possibly can. Because like they even like all of those little scenes are just the moving cells of the action sequences.
Yeah,
they're
just
recycling the entire thing.
I love Xerox.
Well, yeah, we blame Xerox and the fact that it had a $1.5 million budget, which even for the time was shockingly low. It's
Quite
like
an achievement.
In the 50s, Sleeping Beauty was made for around $5-6 million, and so to go all the way back 20-30 years later, it's like, oh man. So I understand why they had to reuse a lot of footage, but this is really funny because I don't think there is another animated movie by Disney where they introduce the characters like this, like, hey, it's the sheriff, played by Pat Buttram.
Well, and I also like the fact that they felt the need to tell you what type of animal they were under everything, just in case you didn't know. Because I mean, I know the sheriff of Nottingham looks pretty similar to the bear. It's like he's a fox and he's a bear. Oh, I had problems with that growing up.
Old bushel riches.
That's funny.
But it's a good song.
Yeah, so this was the song. The whistling part, at least, was the inspiration for the infamous hamster dance.
So it's like you take the whistle song and you speed it up just doubles time, and you got hamster dance, and it's like
I wish Disney would have prosecuted them for that because that was a travesty of the early 2000s.
Cute and persecute. Yeah.
So. Yeah. I don't know. It's a funny little intro. Like I like it for what it is. It's different.
I like it. It helps establish the cast. That way, we don't have to worry about any character development because we're here to have a good time, people. Like the whole point of this movie is really cheap thrills, and it works. Okay,
it's true.
Yep. And then it kind of goes into this introductory song that shows who Robin Hood and Little John are. Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest.
Laughing back and forth to what the other had to say.
Reminiscing this and that.
Having
such a good time.
Oodalali, golly, what a day. Yeah, I love that part.
No, it's a good little song because it introduces the duo, which basically are our two main characters, their relationship, how they're kind of goofy and, criminals, obviously, and they're under the, always on the run. And then we go into that scene where they're in the tree and they're kind of just, what does Little John say? They've just been attacked, and so they're kind of like
Are they good guys or bad guys?
Yeah.
Are robbing the rich to feed the poor. He's like, rob? That's a naughty word. We never rob.
We just borrow it from those that can afford it.
It's like, that's not a candle on a cake.
Oh, yeah.
they are getting better. So, I don't know. I think it's funny. It's a really good scene and, a little nice, as we are going to say, this whole entire episode full of lots of good quotes.
Yeah.
Robin's a little mean to Little John. He's like, the sheriff and his whole posse couldn't lift you off the ground. And then
he ruins Little John's hat.
Yeah, it's good though.
I think if Robin Hood in this film has a character flaw, it's that he's pretty lax about everything. Like he's pretty relaxed and carefree about everything. Very Hakuna Matata,
Totally. He would be BFFs with them. No, but I love how Little John and Robin Hood, they completely justify what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then, oh shucks, like a circus, a peanut operation. And then it was our chance to perform before royalty, and so we're introduced. I think this is the best character in the whole film is Prince John, the phony King of England.
Oh.
And his suspicious
slimy
snake. So his, with you around, who needs a court jester?
Prince John, I mean, he's very vain, and obviously he doesn't belong there, which is pretty funny. But yeah, he has Sir Hiss who kind of puts him in order, and he's like the voice of reason. But Prince John just shoves him down. I mean, he literally puts him in a basket, and he dismisses him later at the archery tournament. It's pretty sad because if he were to listen to him, things would turn out all right.
Yeah, I really love the dynamic they have between Prince John and Hiss. Reading back to Illusion of Life, there's a little bit to be said about villains with appeal. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you like the villain or that he's particularly sinister or that he looks good. or she, sorry. But that you can kind of connect with them and that there's something emotional there and they're entertaining. And so they really thought about this Hiss character because at first they wanted him to be like Kaa from Jungle Book. That was 2 films previous to Robin Hood. You know, Kaa's very sinister, and I think he's one of my favorite pre-Renaissance villains. Because he's creepy because he's voiced by Winnie the Pooh. You know? Good. And just close your eyes and picture Winnie the Pooh saying his lines the next time you watch Jungle Book.
Yeah. Man, that just is not good.
You have just sealed your doom. Wait. But they went in a different direction since Prince John is so, dramatic, boisterous, very Shakespearean. They wanted kind of a voice of reason, like Morgan was saying, who found himself very vulnerable and abused by Prince John in his ridiculousness. So they wanted someone who was kind of nonviolent and kind of pathetic, but they still wanted to do evil because they really wanted the job as counselor to Prince John. And so you get this really kind of crazy character who's like, he's bad, but he could never do any real harm. He just has evil ideas,
Yeah.
And I like how he's not even true to snake form. Like, he never slithers. He just kind of gallops on his tail.
Snakes don't walk, they slither. Slither.
So there. And so... and
Is that what he says? Does he say so there?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he says so there.
Oh, I thought he just said slither twice.
Oh,
my world just opened up right now.
Isn't it crazy when that happens to you?
Yeah.
I know. It's happened to all of us. Don't worry. and when he really wants to make a getaway, he like hikes his coils up like a skirt and like hops on his tail. And they also figured out how to use his snake body like arms. When he's like propping himself up in the basket.
Yeah.
And like putting his like
hands on his shoulder.
His arms up to shield himself from Prince John. So even though this film is very cheap, like I think that Hiss is a very well designed character. And he's really cool, and you wonder why Robin Hood Land never showed up in Kingdom Hearts. But I just think they're really cool together. Prince John, of course, is played by Peter Ustinov. He had a few roles in Disney. I just remember him in the live-action film Blackbeard's Ghost when he was Blackbeard's Ghost, which is in itself an extremely ridiculous film. But like Peter Ustinov, he brings this whole like kind of Shakespearean like enunciate every word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of dramatic, kind of melodrama, and he's really
classically
fun.
Trained.
Dude, I love him. He's like dramatic. He's proud, well-spoken, slightly feminine. He's like a spoiled brat. He like Morgan said, he does not belong on the throne.
Right.
He's a classic parody of royalty and a good parody on John the Soft-Hearted or whatever they called him. The real King Richard's.
The Lion-Hearted.
Oh.
Well, Richard was the lion-hearted. John, John Softsword or whatever they call him. He was the ridiculous relative of his. Ridiculous relative. And I love his rhymes and his alliterations. I don't know if that was the guy who was voicing him or the script, but he's like, silly serpent, I'll take that fat friar to the gallows. And when our hero comes to rescue the corpulent cleric... I just freaking love him. I love the scene where you first meet him because he's like rolling around with his entourage, and it's like what Chelsea with the slither, and so there. For a while when I was a kid, I thought he was saying Texas, beautiful, lovely Texas.
Texas.
Oh, I was like, what? Robin Hood didn't happen in Texas, did it?
It's just because you grew up in Texas and you like see everything around you as what it's just like when I grew up, I always thought the song was in Ex Chelsea's Deo. I'm like, why is it Ex Chelsea's?
Nice.
That was a fun day when I realized that.
Ha 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 ha
ha ha.
Oh, see now everybody that's listening is probably like, oh my gosh, they're quoting so much. But it's like, think about it. If you were with us, you would be quoting.
You'd want to quote too. Totally. No. So this is the next thing is we're introduced to the cross-dressing fortune tellers.
Yeah.
Which are so awesome.
So I always wondered, like, where do they hide all their disguises?
In the trees.
But they have trees, you know. They have...
Yeah, but do they, like, I mean, are there just, like, a million random outfits just sprawled out everywhere you go? They're like, oh, you know, Robin Hood was here type thing.
Hey,
They only wear, like, 2 outfits, don't they?
yeah, when you're, like, the Prince of Thieves of that continent, you gotta be prepared.
It's true.
The Prince of...
You should have, like, a face-off. Who's the best master thief, Robin Hood or Aladdin's dad? As seen on Aladdin and the Prince of Thieves.
But I just love Robin Hood pretending to be that woman with that like black hair and those like blunt cut bangs. Oh, it's like a perfect design. She totally dupes him. Like he's very gullible and not meant for the throne because his understanding is not quite there. Like female bandits, poppycock. What's next?
What's next? Rubbish. It's like regal, majestic, lovable. Yes.
Cuddly. Yes. Oh, it's me to a T.
Oh, you hear that hiss? Oh, in the basket.
But that really goes to show, I mean, they do a really good job with that because a lot of times fortune tellers just sort of tell you what you want to hear or general things that would be a good thing to say to people. So obviously we're speaking to the king, like you're going to throw out the words, oh yeah, you're majestic, you're so regal, you know, godlike, and you know, they're going to eat it all up. So, I mean, we're beginning to see more of, you know, Robin Hood's wit and really how smart he is. But right now, I mean, we just don't really know that he's doing it for good.
Yeah, it's his dumb side and his soft side also, much to the sorrow of the queen. Yes! Mother always did like Richard the best.
And that's a running gag that is so perfect.
It's so well done.
You have a very loud thumb.
The thumb, the mirror, the mother, Mommy!
Yeah, oh man, I would always quote that with my brothers and sisters, like, oh, I got a dirty thumb.
Yeah, and they just end it with that, you know, they find out that it's really Robin Hood and Little John, and he's like, send his people after him, you know, after them, you fools. You know, Prince John's, like, army really sucks.
Oh my gosh, crappy. I mean, the whole time there's these 2 strangers. Well, one stranger's inside the cabin with him, but they're just straight in formation. They don't care.
And then the other one is just waltzing. Yeah, the other one's just waltzing around, filling his bodice with the coins from the royal treasury. Ooh,
don't forget the hubcaps.
Jackpot.
Solid gold hubcaps. My brothers and I say that all the time around, like when a car has like really fancy rims. Or there was a period in my family's life when we had this expedition and it didn't have rims, it had hubcaps, and like we lost, and it wasn't like big hubcaps like on a Honda Accord or something. They're just like those little ones in the middle because the tires are so big. And we lost one of the hubcaps, and my dad had to go to like a specialty store to buy it. And it was great because we would always quote the hubcaps like solid gold hubcaps.
Oh,
like I didn't think a hubcap quote of all quotes would become relevant in my life, but it totally is more than you want to know.
Totally.
I really love it. And the guards are like, what? Oh, go after them? Okay. Come on, man. No one lives forever. And they all urge in the general direction of Robin Hood and Little John, and they pay absolutely no attention to what's on the ground in front of them. I think there's a couple times where John just gets flat out trampled by his own army.
But also think about it. They're not particularly too keen on him being king anyway, so it's like meh.
I mean, are they?
Well,
I mean,
this is Prince
necessarily...
John's private army.
Yeah,
it's like his own little IRS. But they switch out to good, virtuous animals at the end when King Richard comes back.
It's the greatest way to put evil on a face is say that his personal IRS.
Hey, well, it's relevant, but yeah, they kind of bring in like goats and like sheep and like nice animals at the end to be the soldiers. But no, it's like no. I'm king now. Replace my entire army with weasels and rhinos.
Well, no, that makes sense.
What about the crocodile? Can he stay?
Yeah,
Yeah, he can stay. The crocodile can stay.
Well, like that's the thing with tyrants is that when they do usurp and when they sort of take over, they don't want anyone of the old regime there, and they kind of. He's such like a weakling character. It's kind of a juxtaposition that he surrounds himself with really, really strong, Weasley type characters to protect him because he's clearly not that.
And that's kind of like the first episode of the film. Actually, I consider the first part of the film to be the opening credits. And then the second part of the film is this part where they're robbing the royal coach. And then we kind of get into like a real story. That was just like a bit of fun to like show off like how you really don't have to worry about the bad guys in this film. You just have to kind of laugh at them.
Yeah, this is going to be all fun and games.
Yeah, and then we're kind of introduced to some new characters and kind of the storyline of like the taxation and the call for justice,
Which, okay, the dog with the broken leg, not a smart move. If you're going to stick it in your cast, stick like a bunch of coins, don't move. Just don't walk. I mean, because it's the clink, 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 and it gives away. But we're introduced to the sheriff, who's hilarious.
The legendary Pat Buttram.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy from Lester's Possum Park.
This is probably one of your favorite people to impersonate.
He really is. Probably because it being... Yeah. Old Friar Tuck, the old do-gooder.
I love at the end of that quote, he's just like, that old do-gooder, out doing good again. Okay.
Yeah, and then the unspoken line, let's go screw with him. But I really like him. He's like this big gluttonous wolf. So he's got like the fat thing that going on that's like, well, he's a slob, but he's also a wolf in that he's malicious, A malicious slob, and that's the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Well, originally they wanted the sheriff to be like just a not so typical evil animal character, like a goat. But the director, really wanted to stick with this villainous wolf. And like the wolves in, classical stories and fairy tales and animated movies, I mean, they're the evil ones. You got the wolf with the three little pigs. You have Red Riding Hood. I mean, you have the wolf and, the story about the goats and the kids. They try to eat. He's trying to eat all those 7 kids. And so always the wolf doesn't get a break. And even in this movie, they still like, oh no, we're going to go with what people know. And people know that wolves are evil.
Well, yeah, so they went with the goat. They didn't go with the goat, which would have been bad. And so I'm glad they went with the wolf. And then after screwing with Otto, he goes off to his other taxation appointment to like this poor widower's family
With like 1 million kids.
I know, probably from Utah, and she's got like 20 kids, and they all scrimped and sived. The family that pays together, what is it?
Saves together, pays together.
Yeah, there we go. Keep saving. He's like, golly, he's really evil. I don't think he's evil. He's just a jerk.
I really like that at this point in time you meet some of the kids. And some of the kids kind of like, it's interesting how it does. They take one person, which takes you to this person, which takes you to this person, which takes you to this person. Like that's how they introduce each of these new characters is they just interact with each other. And then that person takes over the role of going to the next point until they finally end up at Maid Marian. But right here it goes and it talks to Skippy. And Skippy's just lost his whole farthing.
Oh my gosh, his face when he loses the farthing.
I looked that up, and it's like equivalent to 1/8 of a cent. And that wasn't even like, that's not even now. I mean, it's an older coin. It wasn't even around like 200 years ago, but just even now, just imagine 1/8 of a cent, and that's not very much. So clearly either like inflation has happened, but that's sad because it's the whole family. And even then, all they could do is give him that. I mean, so you understand, at least if you understand the farthing, which most people don't, but it's 1 gold coin, if anything, you understand that, wow, this was a big sacrifice, and Prince John is really making these people suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I like his quote, though, that I really like at that point, where he was just like, "Happy birthday, son.
So how old are you now? I'm 7 years old, going on 8. I'm like, you just turned 7 and now you're looking forward to 8.
I remember.
Hey,
awesome.
when you're a kid, you got to take what you can get.
It's true.
When I was watching this movie as a kid, I remember when he said that I'm 7 going on 8, I was like, oh my gosh, he is so old. I don't even know what it's like to be 7. Like, this is honestly when I'm like 4 thinking this, like 7 is so old. And
Well,
now I'm like
When you
7.
turn 7, you get your own bow and arrow set. You know, you can play around with lethal weapons
And
now.
Robin Hood hat.
Yeah, look at this King Robin Hood bow. Oh, he's so handsome, just like in his reward posters.
Oh,
I love those kids because there's Skippy, and I don't know who the other kids are besides Toby the Turtle.
Oh.
there's Skippy.
Hold on, okay, here's the
and-
name. Toby the Turtle, Skippy, Sis, and Tagalong.
I can never tell what gender the baby is.
Oh,
Tagalong?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and Tagalong was done by Dory Whitaker, which sounds like a girl's name to me, saying that rabbit is a girl, but I always thought that little rabbit was a boy. Tagalong?
Yeah, but Dexter on Dexter's Laboratory was voiced by a girl.
Well, yeah.
So is Bart Simpson.
Yeah, but this was the 70s. Not saying it. Now we're going to get tons of emails. Actually, women have been doing voices for male characters in animated movies.
I wish you guys
since-
wouldn't be so sexist. Yeah. You hacks.
Yeah, but Sis. Yeah, I guess I mean, those characters aren't as important. They're just there, and they kind of introduce us to Maid Marian, which not very good fortifications. You can walk through the bars. Not only that, you can just walk up to the castle and spy on the princess. I mean, creepy.
Yeah, I think even Princess Zelda has better security than these people. And she gets captured, like, periodically. Yeah, I love it. And I love how Maid Marian's like, she's a nice girl. She's kind of one-sided, you know, but, not much to her. With Lady Clucky.
Yeah, I'm your lady in waiting. I'm waiting.
Oh, I love Clucky.
Oh.
She's amazing. If you could do like sassy black women in 1970s Disney animation, Clucky would be the sassy black friend. She really is. Run, lassie. This is no place for a lady. But I really love her, and I love that they just like invite the kids in, and they're like, "Hey, let's have a game at Prince John's expense and just make fun of him." I love how everyone in the film just does not take the guy seriously.
Oh, even his, I don't know how she's necessarily related to Prince John, but relative somehow.
It's gotta be by adoption. It's gotta be. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, Richard is her
It's their uncles.
uncle.
Yeah,
Which,
both of them are uncles.
okay, so yeah, that's embarrassing if your niece is just poking fun at you in the open.
One day King Richard will have an outlaw for an in-law.
Oh. No. My favorite quote, though, of hers is, like, right there between Clucky and she. And she's just like, "Oh, don't worry, my dear. Absence makes the heart go fonder or forgetful." It's like, oh, it hurts. It's so true.
No,
That hurt.
I love right before that with the rabbits, and when he's pretending, Skippy's pretending to be Robin Hood, and they go off to Sherwood Forest, and
Yeah.
it's
Right.
It's just like this little shrub, and then they're just like awkwardly sitting there. Maid Marian doesn't care, but he's like, "So what do we do now?" And she's like, "Well, the hero usually gives the lady a kiss." It's like that. Nah, that's sissy stuff. And
They're kissing.
she gives him a kiss on the cheek, and the kids are like, "They're kissing!" And the sister is busting up laughing for like 10 seconds. Oh, it's good. It's good.
But
I really love it.
something that I noticed today is I have her laugh. Like, if you listen a lot at the very end, she, like, tails off like that. I've re-listened to the podcast multiple times in editing, and I think that's where I got it. I got it from watching these movies. I now laugh like this girl.
Nice.
That's pretty funny. And I think Toby the Turtle gets an honorable mention here for being kind of the squid of the group, you know, to quote Rocket Power. I just like how it's a given that Toby will tattle on you.
Uh-oh. Toby might tattle on you.
Yeah, Toby, you gotta say the oath. Put your hand over your heart and cross your eyes. If I tattle till I'll die till I'm dead.
Oh, that's a great line.
Oh, yeah. I like how, though, at the end, after he's made the oath, he, like, feels proud of himself. He's like, good.
He's like,
I'm not going to tattle on them. I'm good.
I'm not the squid anymore. I'm one of them.
Oh,
Yay, Dad.
yeah.
Chelsea's right. You get these situations that kind of flow into each other, you know? It's the taxation to the sheriff to the bunnies to the vixen to the talking about Robin Hood to the archery tournament to Prince John, you know? So so now we're at the archery tournament. Old Rob can win that standing on his head. And then you meet Friar Tuck for the first time.
Yeah,
He's a really good guy. You know, Friar Tuck is the stand-up guy of this film.
Totally. But what I love
He's
about
just a
Friar
nice
Tuck,
guy.
Friar Tuck just sort of like wanders into their camp like he has nothing better to do.
Yeah, salvation. I'll go see what my friends the thieves are up to. I just like how the guy from the church. This is clearly during the some sort of period of separation of church and state in medieval Europe, because Friar Tuck is totally against Prince John, and he's actually kind of a conspirator against him.
Yeah.
He's like, great idea, Friar Tuck. Yeah, we'll win that archery tournament, and Robin Hood will get to kiss Maid Marian. That's not what I meant, guys. I mean, this will bring you close enough to assassinate Prince John. What? Oh, no. We just want to kiss. We I expected a more sinister plan from Friar Tuck. But, maybe he's not so much of as an enemy of the state as kind of like the love doctor. He wants to make sure Robin Hood gets reunited with his vixen. So, but the archery tournament is like so freaking hilarious. Like, first of all the cool archers, and you've got the disguising, and then Little John comes up, dressed as Sir Reginald, Duke of Chutney, and he totally disses Sir Hiss in front of Prince John, and like basically makes him go away in shame.
He's like, "You, sir, have taken my seat."
And they just laugh at him for like 10 seconds.
No, but this is totally like a situation that happens. It's like the cool new kid comes in town, and like you have a best friend and you're always together, and like the cool new kid suddenly becomes friends with your other friend, and suddenly you are out. And it's like,
You
what?
are out.
What?
Be gone, long one.
Yeah, Prince John has no loyalty. He's all about the cool new guy.
Yeah. Mila, the headmaster sovereign of the realm, the big man himself. You're beautiful. This is like probably going to be the most quoted episode.
I know.
I hope listeners can stand it.
People will either love it or they're going to hate it, so we warned them.
Yeah, I love it. It's kind of the one part that always got me scared was when Prince John was like, off his head! On the boom, boom, brrr, and then the big, scary executioner rhino shows up.
Uh-huh.
And he only needs like 2 seconds on screen to be like the scariest dang thing in the film.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of goes away, release my buddy. I mean, release the prisoner. Untie the prisoner?
PJ.
I love it.
PJ. I like that. I do. PJ, put that on my luggage.
So this whole scene is amazing because total chaos ensues once they Robin Hood's free, grabs Maid Marian, they're running off, seize the fat one. And I love how the crocodile guy is trying to restore order. Attention, everyone! And he gets run over. And then you have like these kind of Scooby-Doo moments where everyone's like, they just do these kind of running cycles, and they just kind of run this distance from the foreground, and then way back in the background, and then some other part in the foreground.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheap, but it's kind of funny at the same time. And then it's like the funnest part of the film, and then it just kind of dips on down low into this like lull. When they do the song.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. The music in this movie is so good. Like, there's so many parts in it that are just like, I love that song. Oh, I love that song. Oh, I love that song. These songs are just so right on target. But then it comes to this song where it's the love. It just totally stops the flow of the movie, and it just doesn't like fit. And I remember back to when we interviewed Don Bluth. And he talked about how he's like, it's because Wooly Reitherman couldn't do romance. And I was like, oh, it's true. Because this one scene, it just wasn't, looking back at it now, I'm able to take a lot out of it. And I'm like, this is really nice. Like the song is really good. It was actually nominated for an Academy Award for Best Music and then Best Original Song. So I thought that was cool, but it was, I don't know, for some reason it just didn't fit. Like, what do you guys thought?
Yeah, when I was a kid, this is definitely the part where I was like gagging as they like do like the slow motion zoom into their eyes, they're fluttering, and there's fireflies, and I'm like, when I was a kid, this is like when I went to the restroom, or when I got a snack, or when I just was fidgeting the whole time. It was like, come on, get to the best song in the film.
Oh yeah. The next song is Prince John, the phony King of England. Awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's a good
catchy.
song, but it's led up, it's funny. It's not even a few minutes later that they
it's like
go
right
into this
after.
song.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh gosh, this is really awkward. We were just making out. The whole town showed up to watch y'all make out.
Well, it's kind of like this like publicized romance,
Yeah.
Everyone wants this to work out,
Yeah.
and
And everyone expects it to work out, and yeah.
I expect it to work out.
Yeah, right?
They're the only two foxes around.
Oh, awesome.
There was your sissy laugh.
I know, right? Yeah, but do you know what's funny about this part where it talks about Prince John, the phony King of England? There's one line where it says, too late to be known as John the First, be sure to be known as John the Worst. It actually, in history, John did become king, and he was the first. And as of 2012, he was the only king to be named John.
Oh.
So I saw that. I was like, really? That's interesting.
But I love this song. It's just like, all right, we outsmarted Prince John and made Marion and Robin Hood together. Let's have a bluegrass party. And the song is so amazing. Like, the lyrics are amazing. Like, incredible as he is inept. Whenever the history books are kept, we'll call him the phony King of England. And then they wish a pox on him. But that's irrelevant. That's, you can look over that. But I love the puppets and like the recycled animation from the Aristocats.
From so many movies here.
Yeah.
Oh, and the dancing.
Yeah,
the dance,
Snow White.
Marion, when she's doing the dancing with different partners, that's a Snow White, yeah.
Snow White.
It just proves she's a classy lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love that song. And they just kind of jam all night, and it becomes a big hit throughout the kingdom. Overnight, it's like a top 40 hit. It goes platinum the first night.
It's a huge hit. The whole town's singing it. No, I love it when the sheriff is singing it to Hiss, and he's like, "Oh, I want to learn that too." He's like, "Oh, that's PJ to a T, isn't it?"
Let to be known as John the First. He should have been known as John the Worst. The masterful, noble, chivalric. No, you got it all wrong, Hiss.
Oh, flashback to episode 2 bloopers.
Dude, I love it. And oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
And then we get kind of into the somber mood. You kind of get 3 songs in one. You have Love, original title, Phony King of England, and then into Not in Nottingham, which is another great song in this film.
Personally, I liked Not in Nottingham better than Love. Like that one,
I've got heart.
Yeah, and you get a lot of people who have made covers of that one. Like people really like that song and like to do it. I mean, we've got Mumford and Sons. They do a cover of it, and I listened to before. I was like, this is cool. They did a good job. So here, let's go over these different songs and what is your guys' vote for the best song? The first one, we've got the Whistle Stop. Opening credits. And then
Just a little sample there.
Thank you. And then we have Oodalali, Robin Hood, Little John running through the forest. Da, da, da. And then right after that, we came Love. We had Prince John, the Phony King of England. We also have Not in Nottingham. But also, we forgot to mention, in the escape sequence following the archery tournament, there are 2 fight songs that are kind of meshed together in that part. Like, right when it goes...
Where Clucky's running with the golden arrow.
Uh-huh. We have the University of Southern California fight song merged with the University of Wisconsin fight song.
So basically, Clucky's an All-American.
Exactly.
No?
Yep.
Basically, that's it.
Yeah. They also have credit in here, because you have to, because these are, early enough songs. Happy Birthday and Rockabye Baby, which apparently were written in the 14th century.
Rockabye Sheriff, just you relax.
All right. So those are all of our choices here. Of all those, which one is your favorite?
I like the Phony King of England, closely followed by Nottingham.
Okay.
Love. Just kidding. Good question. I would say the Whistle Stop, because that's the one I find myself singing and whistling the most. Closely followed by Not in Nottingham.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Oodalali, Oodalali. I think Not in Nottingham is, well, okay. I think I'm gonna go with Nottingham is first, and then Oodalali as second. Those are my top 2. But they're all so good.
They are all so good.
I like Not in Nottingham because it kind of, finally the main conflict of the film kind of comes in there within the last 30 minutes pretty much.
Right.
And I like how Prince John taxes the heart and soul out of the poor people of Nottingham, and he throws everyone in jail. Like everyone in the kingdom besides the
actual thieves.
Besides the church are thrown in jail, including the narrator of the film.
Yep, I'm in here too.
I'm in here too. I love how the poor raccoons, I just love how everyone is moving in time with the song, with the chain clinking and the chain rattling. And, oh man, poor little guys. And and that kind of segues into Friar Tuck. He gets thrown in jail defending the poor box. That scene just. So I like Friar Tuck, and he's kind of an interesting choice as a badger. His original character design was going to be a pig, but apparently that was too anti-Catholic, and I agree.
Yeah. Oh my
and
gosh, that would have been horrible.
And I agree because he's not a corrupt priest. He's really a good guy. And so why would they make him a pig? The pig is a kind of a negative animal, unless it's Babe, in which case he's the hero. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't go with the pig. The church bell at his church there, it was actually rotoscoped footage of a real church bell. It just didn't animate it, that just kind of traced over it. So yeah. And then you kind of get this jailbreak scene. I love the scene where Robin Hood and Little John are impersonating Trigger and Nutsy to outsmart the sheriff. And I love those two guys. Wait a second. Is the safety on, old Betsy? You bet it is, Sheriff. That's what I'm afraid of. You go up first in front of me.
Totally.
Geosophet, Sheriff. Put that peach down.
See, once again, a great use of intonation and just like how they said their words more than what they said. They just added so much personality into every line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Prince John's amazing plan he's right up there with the bad guy from Bowler Hat guy from Meet the Robin Hood. I'll just hang Friar Tuck, get rid of the only priest in town, and when Robin Hood comes, we'll capture him. It's brilliant.
Well, and not to mention that he also sees the need to sleep with all his bags of gold.
That's
Conveniently
right.
putting him and what Robin Hood's looking for in the same place.
I know. You know how Disney comes out with their the name of the re-release DVD has something to do with it, you know?
Oh, yes.
So Robin Hood has on the Most Wanted edition DVD of
what does that
Hood,
even mean?
Most Wanted edition, it means it's narrated by Sheriff John Bennell of America's Most Wanted. I don't even know. Most Wanted edition. It's the one that you want the most.
I suppose. It's sort of like the Great Mouse Detective, the Mystery and the Mist edition. It's like, what?
Mystery and the Mist edition?
There was no mist.
Yeah, who's the marketing dude who thinks up the DVD edition?
They're like, we don't think it's worth a platinum edition or a diamond edition, but we don't want to just release it, so it needs some sort of edition. So, all right, everyone gather around the table. Let's think of new editions. Oh, I know. Mystery in the Mist.
Okay, I'm thinking we're re-releasing Snow White. We need a name for the edition. Okay, how about this? Snow White Poison Apple edition. Cinderella Rotting Pumpkin edition.
I have
Fox and the Hound Radiator edition.
I have the very first DVD edition. It was the Gold Classic Collection of this movie.
That's okay.
Yeah.
VHS, folks.
Yeah, that was totally good.
So yeah, they were gonna do this kind of alternate ending where Prince John like wounds Robin Hood, and then he's about to kill him. He's about to stab him, and then he's interrupted by King Richard at the last second, which would have been really lame. Like, how did that happen? But the filmmakers felt it made him too sinister and too dark, and so they dropped that ending. They'd
already spent all this time establishing that he's goofy and incompetent.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, and then I love how Prince John just goes stark raving mad because Robin Hood wins again, and then look what you've done to your mother's castle.
Oh, Mama. Yeah,
and then he takes it all out on Sir Hiss.
Yeah, so you cowardly cobra, you procrastinating python, you eel in snake's clothing.
I never noticed that line before.
Dude, I absolutely love it. Then the ending's kind of funny. They all the bad guys are thrown in this like Prohibition era jail, and they feed on rocks. And Trigger and Nutsy are kind of bad guys, but they're still the guards over the jail, so it's all good. Except Nutsy is now Trigger's boss instead of Trigger being Nutsy's boss. So it makes me wonder if Nutsy, if he was just kind of a dim-witted accomplice, or if he really had a hand in it. I don't know. Maybe we'll never know.
The world will never know. Unless they do a Robin Hood 2 sequel.
This is one of the films that has been unspoiled by a sequel.
It's
probably
true.
because there was no real story in the film, to build on.
And they're like,
to build on in the.
Yeah,
in the,
exactly. They're
whatever.
like,
just give them a level on Kingdom Hearts. It's as simple as that. No plot required.
The thing is, they kind of built it to where they could have possibly done something, because it's at the very end. He's Toby's like, wow, Skippy, why are you going? Well, Robin Hood is going to have kids. Somebody's got to take care of things. I'm like, why?
Creepiest thing ever. They just got married and they're going on their honeymoon. They don't have kids yet. Why are you there, Skippy? It's disgusting. Okay.
And then you can see on the IMDb page for Robin Hood under the Parents Guide, sex is implied in the last scene of the movie. 4 out of 10 should have been PG-13.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a weird mentorship, kind of like a Jack Donaghy, Liz Lemon thing. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of creepy that he runs off with them on their honeymoon.
Yeah.
Oh, and Little John's driving the cab.
Of course.
Well,
hey, they're inseparable.
Well, I mean, I can understand somebody driving the cab. I mean, somebody's got to.
Well,
but
does it have to be your friend? Could you not hire a man for this?
Yeah, the Middle Ages had some weird traditions on marriage.
Such as?
Yeah.
I can't even say them on the podcast.
Oh, yes, because we're a clean podcast.
Just look up the history of why there's a garter toss.
Oh,
and
I've looked that up before.
Well, we looked it up when we were getting married, and it was kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, so kind of funky ending. I'm glad we get to see King Richard, a proper Lion King.
Well, yes, because he has a giant mane.
A full mane, Crusader uniform. It appears I now have an outlaw for an in-law. Got that Sean Connery laugh. all the evil animals are gone. There's good animals now, and the love goes on and on. But I really like this film. I think,
Really? You haven't made that clear.
I don't know if you guys didn't realize it yet, but I really like this film. Yeah.
So, okay, what are we going to rate this film?
Oh, man.
There's a lot of things to consider. I'm thinking about it. Story-wise, there's no story. We've already talked about that. But character-wise, like Mason said, there are some amazing characters, and this is probably one of the most quotable films ever. And I think I can watch this so many times. The replay value on this is just, as I'm watching it again, I haven't watched it for years, but it was oh, this is good. Oh, I could do this again.
Yeah. It's not like there's this exhausting journey of a plot that you have to get through.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get back and enjoy the hilarity of it all.
I mean, you could start at any point in time and be sucked in and not have missed a beat. So I don't know. For me, I'll go first. Because of just those two things, because of the fact that the dialogue was really well done and the voice acting was very well executed, I'm gonna go ahead and give this, based on the replay value alone, 4 stars.
4 stars. All right.
Okay, well, I've been thinking about this, and obviously I don't feel comfortable giving it a 5-star rating, because then I would lose all my credibility as a reviewer, and everyone knows that I have so much credibility. So, for the sake of my reputation. No, but for, just the fact that I don't rate it maybe the highest ever doesn't mean that I don't absolutely love this movie and that it's one of my favorites. I think I would give this 3.5 stars.
You take that back.
I'm so sorry. It's not the best movie, but it's definitely not the worst. It's definitely a pretty decent movie, but that's trying to be a bit objective about this. Then putting all that aside, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's incredibly quotable and great, but I still can't give it 4 stars because the songs aren't really that great. The flow of it's a bit odd, but I love it for what it is, and I've learned to love it. But 3.5.
Okay, that's fair.
It's fair.
Yeah, I really wouldn't give it more than 4 stars either. This is an incredibly funny film, but it kind of came from those clunky pre-Renaissance days, and I mean, it wasn't. I shouldn't say pre-Renaissance because it's still back in the classic days. But yeah, I mean, don't expect a story. Just expect a lot of really good quotes and funny situations and lots of rednecks. But yeah, 4 stars because this is a really good fun film to watch over and over again. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not exactly the greatest achievement of all of animation.
Right.
Cheap thrills, folks. That's what you'll get here.
But you know what? 4 stars worth of cheap thrills.
Absolutely.
Oodalolly, oodalolly, golly, what a day! Oodalolly, oodalolly, golly, what a day!
I love voicemails, as we've made known through the last couple of episodes that we've been getting them. And we're actually going to be moving more into the voicemail side. So emails we're going to be reading, but going to be more excerpts from emails. Please keep sending your emails, but we may or may not use all of it in the episode. So we're excited to head on into the voicemails. Let's see what y'all got to say.
Hey Rotoscopers, my name is Dan Siciliano from Cary, Illinois, and I love your podcasts, including the last one with Rise of the Guardians. It's such an underrated film. I love it. I hope it has a cult and sequel in the future. And I'm really excited about the next one about Robin Hood, because I wanted to share a little something with you about this film. When I was in the 3rd and 4th grade, my teacher had a correspondence crush with the man who voiced Robin Hood, Mr. Brian Bedford. Wow, ain't that something? Well, it's a little something I want to share with you, and I can't wait for more shows in the future. And a little word of advice, just keep your chins up, because soon everything will be better in Nottingham. You'll see. I hope you guys have a good summer. Cheers. Oh, and P.S. I love Rango. For those people who think Rango is a bad movie, I love it. Get over it. All right. Bye, you guys.
Hey Rotoscopers, it's me, Maggie. I just want to start off by saying thank you for the mention in the last episode. That was a really great surprise. But since I drew you guys as ponies, it would seem that I know a lot about ponies, and indeed I do. So, ponies, why do people like it? Why do grown men like it? I think it's because of the characters, the world building. You'll see that a lot of people who like it are already fans of the sci-fi, and the world of Equestria is just so rich, especially in Season 2 when they started introducing, like, the steampunk concepts of the universe. Like, it's just really engrossing. And obviously the characters, they like the personalities of the characters because they're not your regular archetypes, and they like the dynamics of the characters because, as you will see, there's just a massive fan work, and the Brony fandom has effectively become a fandom of themselves. They have derived their works from ponies, but sometimes a lot of the creative works hardly even have that the Bronies revere hardly have ties to the actual show and the actual characters, but they have ties to the universe of Equestria. I kind of fell off the Pony Brony fan wagon because I just couldn't keep up with the fan work, but I know a lot of Bronies still do. And also because I didn't think Season 2 and Season 3 had the same magic as Season 1, but hey, who am I to judge? Wow, okay. See, that's all I have to say. See you guys.
Hey, Rotoscopers, Chris Coleman here, and I saw your tweet about your upcoming podcast, which is going to talk about Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood from 1973. Had to send a little something, because that is my favorite Disney animated feature. I know that's a pretty obscure one, given all the great features they've released over the years, but I loved this one as a kid. I bought it on VHS, and of course it's coming out on August 6th, I think, on Blu-ray, 40th anniversary edition, which I will have to get it. Of course, great characters, great voice acting, great music from George Bruns, and I think Roger Miller's Oodalali song is probably what it's best known for, and still love it to this day. So I look forward to hearing your guys' discussion about this film. And I hope you guys all love it as much as I do. And if not, well, Oodalali.
We're so glad you guys were able to come and join us today. So if you want more information about this episode or any other episodes that we do, you can head on over to therotoscopers.com/40. Episode 40, and you can find all the information that anything that we mention will be in the show notes there, and also that video that I talked about earlier, that me and Alice Cooper, because he and I are buds now, you know how it goes. The link to that will also be on the website. It'll take you straight to my Facebook page. You guys will like it. If you're into guitar stuff, you're gonna like it. So head on over. We got Twitter. We got everything that you need. Mason also has his blog, thisanimatedlife.blogspot.com. This is a lot of information, but you can find it all on the show notes. So head on over to rotoscopers.com/40 for all the information you need. Come join the community. I mean, even after the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of Frozen news come up, and so we've got more information on there, and people are seriously going to town on those comment boards. So it's fun to see the whole conversations happen. So until next time, we are the Rotoscopers.
You heard what he said, bushel britches.
No, man. That no no, man.
Ugh, Brazil. How were you? Were you excited? What? She's speaking Portuguese.
No,
were you excited about Rio? Were you? Well, I don't think he's evil. He's just a jerk. Man, this is not a good time to have the hiccups. Snakes don't walk; they slither.
So there. I kind of like it better at saying slither.
Well, that's not it.
Well, I'm gonna keep saying it like that. But give me a cruel chuckle. His 'Tis a red letter day. A truly hard to join the Northern Sire, you're most potent in procuring contributions from the poor. Indeed, Sir Hiss. Rob the poor to feed the rich. Aha! Aha! I mean, Robin Hood really could have slain Prince John right there, but I guess as Gandalf would say, courage is not taking a life; it's knowing when to save it.
Or as Nephi would say, it is better that one man should perish than a whole nation should dwindle in unbelief.
Should die, and a whole nation should dwindle in unbelief.
That's totally the Robin Hood way. If this were really, I mean.
Oh my goodness, that just made my week.
Well, because based on his attitude towards money, and we steal from the rich to feed the poor, it's all about the people, it's more important about them, you would think that Robin Hood ultimately would just chop off Prince John's head, because it's for the good of the people.
And then dress in clothing and make sure his go with him.
Dress up in his clothing and go up to Sir Hiss, asking for the gold.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Who cares?
Am I keeping this in there? I don't even know.
It's a blooper.
A lot of this. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of this episode is going to have to be edited for length, but...
Yeah, thank
Sir Zoram.
Anyway, Sir Zoram. I don't think Zoram was all that... wasn't like Sir Hit. Anyway, I don't know. We could go on.
Oh, man. You need to do fan art of that.
And,